Welcome back, this time to part 15 of the original character story, where I improvise my way through scenarios and you guys vote for what happens next. We rejoin Prince Erasmus and Darrow the Assassin as they're standing outside a building that they've just agreed to rob. So, this is the place we're meant to steal from? Erasmus tilted his head, dark hair spilling as he stared. Darrow nodded, checking and rechecking the paper in his hands. Yeah, this is it. The pair looked. Well, outsides can be deceiving, I suppose, the prince suggested. The building they stood in front of was, well, a mess. Cracks wormed their way up the bricks. The roof was breaking apart. Ivy clung to near every inch, and there was not a single window without a pane at least that was smashed. Think it's abandoned? Maybe, Darrow mused. But folks can live anywhere, in anything. Wouldn't surprise me if there's someone still in there. He dropped his gaze to the page of instructions. What we're after's small. A set of candlesticks. Says they're rose gold. The hell does that mean? What colour's that? The assassin frowned. Erasmus smiled. It is a kind of peachy pinky gold, possibly tall, probably engraved or patterned. Darrow watched the man beside him with glad eyes. Lucky I got you, innit? Erasmus beamed. When should we do it? Now? Blue eyes roamed the dilapidated building. Let it get dark first. Then we're going in. Erasmus nodded agreement. Then his voice became just a little sweeter than usual. So, Darrow. Yeah? Could we do something to pass the time? Sure. What you thinking? Come with me? All right. Darrow moved and felt the prince take his hand. What we doing? Something. The assassin laughed. Not telling, huh? Not until we get there. Get where? Itty. Itty, where? Shh. They passed down the street, around a corner and back towards the tavern they were staying in. Erasmus leading the way with a smile Darrow could not understand. I saw this place earlier. I thought it looked interesting, and they turned into a dead-end little winding road, and there it was. The plot had started life as some kind of community garden, tools hung on old nails, hammered into a wonky shed. Plants grew coaxed on sticks, vegetables and fruits and florals in every colour bloomed around their steps. The pair entered, making their way towards a hidden gazebo buried in the centre. It was wreathed in vines and leaves. Dark hair led blonde, through and through and through until they had stepped past a wall of leaves to enter the space under curved glass. Can we sit? Darrow sat at once. There was a bench, but it was crumbling, so they both settled on the floor. It's pretty. The assassin found his voice, staring around. He took the hood down, ears still instinctively listening for the slightest sound, but found himself relaxing into the stillness of the place. Sunlight peeked in through the glass ceiling. Bugs and birds hummed in the air outside, and it was all just calm. Something the assassin had always been sorely lacking. You are pretty. Erasmus was closer now, nose nudging Darrow's cheek as fingertips brushed the assassin's mask away from his face. Eerie? A laugh rose light as clouds. Did you bring me here just to make out? The prince's voice hushed at his lips. Is that all right? For answer, Darrow grabbed Erasmus around the waist, pulling the man bodily into his lap. Anytime. Their lips met with a rush of rose-scented breeze, every breath a swell of flowers. Hands found Darrow's jaw, tracing slow trails into his skin as they sat, and they continued on and on with the kiss. It was nice, more than nice. It was a way of existing that the assassin had never sought refuge in before. Always he'd written it off as a detriment, meant only to slow things down, or worse, to guide him into distraction. And certainly, Iri was very distracting, but he found he couldn't mind. Not when the man held his hand so sweetly, not when they found so many moments to laugh and enjoy. They'd done some practice too. He'd shown the prince how to block a strike and where to stab should he be left with no choice. Darrow did not believe that the man in his lap could be a hindrance. Not in any way. The day faded around them and darkness swept in under a blanket of stars. A soft glow lit the assassin's skin. It made the prince beam. 2 pairs of eyes blinked. Time to go. Erasmus sat back, flushed and smiling. Darrow chased his lips, hands seeking dyed hair again. Once more. The smile broke into a laugh as Erasmus sat forward again and kissed the assassin. Another perhaps half an hour flew by before the 2 men were once more standing outside the run-down building in an empty street. They were lit by nothing but moonlight, as Darrow assessed things. His mask was back on, hood raised. Erasmus wore his hood close around his face too. He looked positively criminal, and he was rather liking that. It was a strangely safe way to feel, especially with the literal killer of a man stood close at his side. Right then. Darrow led them into the shadows around the rear of the property, though really there was no need. Not a single light shone from inside, and there was no one around in the dilapidated street. That is how we get in. He pointed up to a shattered window on the upper floor. We climb round the side. See that pipe? Then, in through there, and once we check there's no company, we search around for these candlesticks. Iri glanced up at the window and nodded. How many are we looking for? Darrow consulted the page one last time. 4. Is that a set or something? Probably, the prince agreed. Well, lead the way then, thief. Darrow chuckled. This way. Mind your head. Getting into the dwelling was the easy part. Only when the pair were standing in the gloom of the upper floor did they begin to realise what an utter trial they were in for. Oh, good God! Erasmus blinked around, squinting into the room. What the bloody hell? Darrow crouched low, looking around. The room was piled full, floor to ceiling in places, and the rest was at least as tall as the 2 men. It was everything. Odds and ends, litter, dust, rubbish, food, mould, bottles, glass, books, old pages, sheet music, wooden boxes of every size, makeup, hats, clothing, boots. This place is more trash than house, he muttered, rising again and taking the prince's hand. No splitting up. Could get swallowed by fuck knows what if you step in the wrong place, yeah? Yeah, definitely. Taking stock, the 2 men glanced around the room they'd found themselves in. It was, once upon a time, a storage closet of sorts. Small, cramped, with peeling paper on the walls and a filthy rug on the floor. No hints of gold. Erasmus held tight and took a tentative step forwards. The floorboards creaked unhappily. Darrow's arm lurched out, ready to catch the prince, but the house stilled. Dunno which is worse, the assassin grumbled as they carefully picked their way on tiptoe across the room. Being up here, waiting to fall through the damn floor, or... He turned to lift Erasmus lightly over a long dent in the boards. Being down there, waiting for the ceiling to bury us alive. How are we meant to find candlesticks in this mess? Erasmus whispered, close at Darrow's heels as they made it to the open door, peering out into a narrow hallway. I'm starting to understand the rat part of a rat and root job now. The prince's voice came low in the gloom. 2 pairs of feet edged through the clutter towards the next room. Yeah, regular pests we are. Darrow held up a hand, listening. He thought he heard something from the lower floor, but after waiting for a long, agonizing minute and hearing nothing more, he lowered the hand and pressed on. The hall was as full as the storage closet, piles of items, knickknacks of every description, dishes, crockery, newspapers crumbling into decay. The only other door in the hallway led to a bedroom. Cautiously, they peeked in. "We will be here all night," Erasmus sighed as they stared in horror at yet more stuff. Mountains stood sentry around the bed, and even that was covered in endless sheets and pillows. The wooden wardrobe in the far corner was tipping forwards on its hinges, contents only just clinging to their hangers and shelves. Hat boxes had slid right to the rim, long skirts, dresses, shirts, blazers, everything you could imagine sat on rusting hooks. The thing bulged like a swollen fly. A dozen rugs lay draped over the floorboards. A dresser sat under the cracked windows. Mirror faded, jewels haphazard over the corners. Every drawer was split open. They inched their way over to it, keeping a watchful eye. No longer just for hints of gold, but for other pressing matters, like collapsing towers of junk ready to engulf them. Erasmus skirted around the bedposts, kneeling to check underneath. Darrow began opening drawers, starting at the bottom. "Why do you do that?" the redhead whispered. "It's faster," the blonde demonstrated. "When you gotta get in and out, see?" He tugged open the next drawer up, then the next and the next. "Every second counts. Remember that?" "I shall." Erasmus pushed aside a basket of playing cards, reaching further underneath the metal frame. "Oh, Darrow shoved the top drawer shut, pulling a face. "What is it?" called the prince quietly from further beneath the bed. "Underwear." Erasmus stifled a laugh. "Seriously? You kill people for a living, sweetheart?" "Yeah, well, still. Don't feel right rummaging in a stranger's knickers." The assassin felt his heart swell at the name sweetheart. "I would not say no." "You what?" Darrow wheeled around, staring intently at the prince's feet. The youngest royal was quickly vanishing in his quest under the bed. "I said I wouldn't say no," the prince repeated, glad his face was hidden behind more than the hood at this moment. The mattress separating them gave him a funny sort of confidence to speak without having to blush in front of Darrow, though he was certain the assassin's ears were bright pink right then. "Though I should warn you, I do not wear knickers. Sorry if you're disappointed." "Of course I won't be Iri, come out here." Darrow dropped to one knee and tapped the man's ankle. "Just one box left. Let me check. Who'd keep candlesticks under the bloody bed? Aha!" A very quiet whoop sounded, and the clanking of something metal. "You're kidding." Darrow heaved on the prince's legs, helping the man slide out and onto his back. Erasmus was beaming. "Got two." He held them up triumphantly. Two ornate rose gold candlesticks, tall and swirled through with engraved flowers. Darrow stared, his own smile evident even through his mask. "You beautiful bastard." "Who, me or the candlesticks?" Darrow cuffed the prince gently on the shoulder. "You, always you. You beautiful cheeky Erasmus pressed rose gold to the assassin's mask. "Hold that thought for after, yes?" The assassin nodded. "Two left to find then. Please don't tell me folks stash their valuables in the underwear drawers and under the bed." "Usually I'd say that is a very good place to search." The prince rose carefully to his feet, passing their prizes to Darrow, who vanished them into a deep pouch at his belt. "But it's unlikely they hid all of them in the same room. My father called that idiocy of the highest order. He always said you ought to make thieves work for it, and if they could locate everything and get out before anyone noticed, well, it was on you for doing such a dreadful job protecting your wares." "And did anyone ever get any of his stuff?" Darrow brushed some dust free from the prince's cloak. "Never." Erasmus looked a little glum. "Someone got close once, when I was very young. They nearly stole the crown jewels. 4 crowns, almost gone forever." "What happened?" The assassin poked his head out of the door into the hallway again, motioning for Erasmus to follow. "The thief left a note, telling my father exactly how they had done it. along with a few suggestions to improve palace security. Darrow snorted. Legend. I rather thought so, but my father was furious. More about the note than the robbery, really. He sent people after whoever it was. They finally tracked him down, and he still had it all. The crowns were returned like nothing had happened, and the man was executed. I thought for sure you were going to say your dad gave him a job. Darrow crept to the top of the staircase, peering down. It was as dark as upstairs. My father was many things. A gracious loser was not one of them. Two hoods, two hidden faces looked into the unknown. Going down, then? Nodding, Darrow began slowly descending the stairs. Erasmus followed, both keeping watchful eyes ahead and behind. Why's this place not been picked clean? Darrow hissed, landing deft feet on the carpet below. Sure, might not be worth a fortune, but you could get by on a few handfuls if you grab the right stuff. Can't believe no one's come poking round before. How do you know they have not? Erasmus stood beside him, rummaging quietly through a faded suitcase. The jewellery was still there. And look, see that? Got to be real gold frames. Both stared up at the paintings along the entryway. Those would be the first I'd take if I came snooping. Well, thank you for resisting. They wouldn't exactly be inconspicuous as we walk down the street. Fair point. So, Darrow craned his neck, looking ahead down the hall. Bathroom, kitchen, or living room? Given the state of the rest, could we please leave the bathroom until absolutely last? And pray we have found the other two candlesticks before then? Both men nodded in agreement. Kitchen, then? Why not? Plenty of cupboards, lots of places to hide valuables. Darrow beckoned the prince on, slipping past the closed bathroom door. The neck stood ajar, showing a slither of a musty armchair and a dead fire in a dead grate. The pair continued on through to the little kitchen at the far end of the hall. Holy hell! Erasmus covered his face, doubling over. Darrow rubbed his back, eyes watering. They had stepped into a wall of something beyond smell. It was in the very air itself, stagnant and heavy, wool in their lungs. Mould sat thick on every surface, furry blue like deceased creatures sprawling out on their bellies. The sink was packed, remnants stuck to every dish, every plate. Sludge dribbled from countertops, settled in puddles, sank deep into the tiled floor. Darrow picked his way across the room and slowly opened a cabinet. The stench continued there, too. He closed it again, fast. If they're stashed in here, doubt we'd even recognise them. Damn, my eyes keep streaming. You all right? Erasmus rose shakily to his feet. Yeah. Oh Lord, this is foul. Together they opened another 3, but there was nothing to greet them but odours and crockery. Screw this. Let's go to the living room. Eerie, get behind me. Something was moving. Something crouched low and slow. Something in the doorway. The something lurched closer, haggard feet slapping the tiles, nails clacked, greying and curled. Breath came pained through battered lungs, and as it approached, they could see crooked teeth, musty and rotting. On your knees, the something croaked, as like a shriek as broken tongue could get. And that cheerful note is where we will end the story for today. So get down in the comments below and let me know what your decision is. You guys have got 3 choices today. Option number 1, they kill the creature. Option number 2, they run from the creature. And option number 3, they get caught by the creature. Now, option number 3 does not have to mean the end of the road. This is not certain death or peril. Anything could happen. Hell, anything could happen with any of these options. But again, option number 1, they kill it. Option number 2, they run. And option number 3, they get caught. Let me know what you would like to happen next in the comments down below. And a fun fact for those of you who stuck around to the very end of this video, this is being turned into a book. I am currently turning the episodes, let's call them episodes, into chapters. And we are currently halfway through chapter 4. So if anyone would be interested in reading that, it'll be the same story, give or take, with a lot of extra bits and pieces. Then, yeah, let me know in the comments down below. And those of you who've already DM'd me saying you'd really like it, thank you for the suggestion. It is happening. As always, thank you so much for supporting me on this absolute chaos that I produce. And also, for those of you asking, the Twitch is slowly coming together. It is going to be bare bones and basic, but we're going to make it work. It's going to be chaotic. I am going to try to do my first stream sometime this month, so November. If not, maybe just before Christmas. Or hell, we could celebrate the new year by bringing in a Twitch, I don't know. But that is coming soon. Here is some of the art for it. And yeah, take care of yourselves. Bye-bye.